Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 260, Too Fast, Too Furious, Lap 12. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe 2, and this episode is brought to you by the refreshed 2023 Nissan Leaf. Zero gas, all thrill.
Well, shout out to the Nissan Leaf and shout out to Cassie Wilson, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellen, and Justin Kleiman, Brian Rodriguez of... Justin Kleiman, let me make sure I get his name right. I butchered that terribly. Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party. Haley Gerbies, Wes Hampton, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden, Renato D. Donato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, Lindsay Lewandowski, Nate Milton of the Kings of Sport, Jason Rainey, Tom Price, and someone by the name of Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Mon-TEZ. Thank you all so much for supporting us, the $5 a month level or above. And
that was a mouthful, dude. That was like a long list there.
It's a long list.
It was good. Don't sigh about that, man. That was good.
I don't know when to do it anymore. I also feel like...
Mix it up. Put it somewhere else. Have some fun with it.
I do two quick updates before we get into this episode. Number one, the last episode, you were like, what's that episode of Seinfeld? It turned out the episode of Seinfeld was the movie Yes Man, starring Jim Carrey.
True, yeah.
So not that. And also I will say that last minute you were like, yep, definitely the woman in the trailer park, that's definitely her in the house, and it's not her. It's a different woman altogether. So
it is?
Yes.
Okay, whoa. Oh, fair. I mean, if you're trying to dress like a Florida lady, they both looked very much like the same Florida lady, so the costume designer needs the most hair and makeup and costume deserve the most credit for that one.
You know how like in a later movie that I'm not going to spoil for Montez, someone says numbers is what you do, right? Like there's a thing like that. Like costumes is what I do.
Okay. You have face blind. Don't give me this hair blindness.
No, it's not hair. It was the back of her. I'm saying this was, I knew this, like, I stared at this woman for a while, writing down every little bit of her, and you're like, nope, same person. I was just like, okay.
That's fair.
So.
I'm wrong.
I think you even said, I guarantee it. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
With us tonight to talk about Too Fast, Too Furious, and hopefully a movie that we will hopefully all pick the most Dom moment from a moment that actually happens in this movie. We have the final name on that list, Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Mon-TEZ. Hello, Montez.
What's up, gentlemen? I've got my snacks. The top of my notes say Too Fast Snacks.
Perfect.
With an X.
Are you hungry, Montez?
I'm hungry. I'm ready to go.
So now this is a movie you had seen before. That is correct, right?
Yeah, this movie, it's kind of like Cars 2. It didn't actually happen.
Oh, okay.
So your little guy loves cars. Does he love all of the cars? Is there one or more movies in particular that he loves? Because I know we've talked about cars. We talked about cars last episode, but
we like
what
Cars.
Specifically Cars franchises does he love?
Cars 1 and Cars 3. We tried Cars 2, and he, much like everyone else in the world, was not about it.
Okay.
But Cruz Ramirez, pretty solid addition in Cars 3.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Cristela Alonso is pretty great. Cars 2 is not... It's like a James Bond kind of parody with Michael Caine in there, and Larry the Cable Guy is kind of James Bond. Like, it's exactly what that sounds like. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you had seen this before. You said it didn't happen. I know that you watched this. Did you? Okay, so I know that when you visited your cousin a couple weeks ago, you guys watched it then for some reason. Did you watch it again this week to refresh, or is that recent viewing a couple weeks ago carrying you over here because it was burned into your brain with good memories and good thoughts?
That was more than enough.
Okay.
I was actually just talking to him about it a few minutes ago, and he said, "You really should have rewatched this." And I said, "Who else am I going to sit and hate watch this with while drinking wine and snacks?" Yeah. I know I said Tokyo Drift was my least favorite, but I don't know. I think the fact that I completely forgot about this one, maybe this one's my least.
Well, I will say this is my least favorite of the 10. Like, this is the one that I like the least. I still like it a lot. I still, dare I say it's a perfect film, but it's my least favorite of the 10. But is this one that you saw originally in theaters, or do you remember where or when you saw this for the first time?
I mean, I probably saw this in theaters, yeah.
Okay.
We were talking about this earlier. We have a pretty solid discount theater here, and it used to be 50-cent Tuesdays.
Wait, have you always lived in that area?
Yeah, sadly.
Okay. Always haunted by the church on the hill.
Ugh.
Yeah, I remember our mutual friend who we met via would talk about that second run theater, I think, as well. I think that's just like, I guess when you live where you live, it's like, okay, we're gonna go see a cheap movie tonight because that's what it's that and Jesus.
Yep, and I'm picking movies every time.
It's really funny because I mean, we've been doing the minute, right? And we're like more than halfway through the movie. And this is like, the first time we're watching it for this lap. And I was thinking as I was watching it today, I was like, wow, it's the more I watch this movie, the more I like it. And I was like
Really?
yeah, I was like really enjoying it this time. Because like we've been like breaking down the little bits of like I was at the scene where Roman like confesses or like tells Brian like, look, like I know I was blaming you, but like
On the bridge scene.
yeah, it was my fault. And I was like, there's like a lot of stuff that like on the surface as I was watching this movie for like a while until we were doing the minute that I wasn't like, not that there's a ton of depth here, but there was a little bit more depth than I realized. And when I was like watching, I was like, oh cool, that's pretty nice. I like that. And so I was really enjoying it this time. So that's why I was like talking about her hate watching and just giggling.
I will say along those similar lines, there is excitement, and we've talked about this before. When I started watching the part of the movie past where we are in the minutes, I was like, ooh, I don't know this as well. But like the closer we get to that like 75 or 76 minute mark where we are in the minute,
yes.
I'm like, okay, as we get closer, I know all of this way too well.
Yes.
And then once we're at a certain point, I'm just like, all right, no, I know this one normal now. I don't know it like minutely.
Yes.
I don't know the sound of the food that Roman is or is not eating.
The can,
I don't know verbatim
can/wrapper.
lines. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Montez, so we're going to get your picks, or your rankings at the end of the lap, but it's safe to say number one above number two?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay. We have two questions, though, to talk about this movie in particular, because we had last time, are you a Brian or a Dom? Are you a me or a Letty? What does food all over the place mean? Are you ready? There's one about this movie, and then there's one that's nothing to do with this movie that I hope you can answer, but I don't know if you can, but we'll find out. Are you ready for two very hard-hitting either-or questions?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Are you more, both new characters in this movie, are you more a Tej or a Roman? I can sort of see both. You're techie, but you're also kind of a, and I say this endearingly, kind of a loudmouth.
Oh.
I say it with love. You know I'm saying it with love, but you're kind of a loudmouth.
I want to say I'm more of a Tej.
Okay. Now this one is difficult because of geographically where you are. Neither of these places are actually even near here either, where Joe and I live. In the greater New York City area. But regionally speaking, there are two burger chains you've heard us argue about over and over again. Are you more a fan? Have you had either or both of In-N-Out and or Whataburger? Do you have a preference between those two? Have you had either of them? Have you had both of them? Where do you stand on the great burger debate?
I've had
both.
both.
Too Fast, Too Forever.
I've had both. And I want to say that I liked Whataburger better.
Hell yeah, Montez.
No, you're just placating Joey. That's fine. I mean, go ahead. That's totally fine. It was like,
Hell
I want to
yeah,
say
Montez.
maybe I kind of like Whataburger better. No, okay.
Almost, when I was in Austin a couple of weeks ago, as my sister was driving me all around town, like she was my valet. I almost took pictures of like every Whataburger. I'm just like, look, I'm surrounded in heaven. But I didn't even go there. I had other business to take care of, like barbecue and breakfast burritos and stuff like that. But
amen. Tacos, torchies.
Montez, is there like is the cookout by you like that fast food sort of like you can get like 1,000,000 pounds of food for $12? Is the cookout around you?
There's so many. There's a cookout down the street. The line is usually wrapped around the building and out into.
Is it good? I've never had it.
It's.
I mean, I think it's interesting. It's good for fast food. Maybe is that safe to say?
Their milkshakes are great.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a preferred regional sort of mid-Atlantic coastal fast food chain?
I mean, I like Five Guys.
That's like the worst.
Is that though? Is that
no, I don't know. Five Guys.
I don't consider that fast food. That's not fast food.
That's not
like,
fast food. Okay.
No, it's like.
By the
Panera.
way,
It's
Five
like
Guys is
casual.
wildly expensive now.
Oh, it's so expensive.
It's been expensive forever. That's my whole
Yeah.
pitch the whole time. People would be like, "Oh, In-N-Out or Five Guys." And it's like that's not a comparison because
It's not, yeah.
Five Guys is 50 times more expensive than it is, and like that's fine. Like if you compare that to like a burger of the same price, but it's not the same price. It's like $20. It's insane.
I went there
very expensive.
for the first time in years. Like for the first time, basically I think since the pandemic. Like I don't think I've gone because there's not one really super close to me. So probably the first time in like 2.5 or 3 years, like in the last month or so. And the little hamburger, which is like a regular hamburger, like one patty,
one patty,
and small fry was $13. So I was like, what? Oh, okay.
No drink.
No drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Five Guys, you're up there. Like, how regional? I wonder. I'm gonna look that up. Five Guys locations. You a fan of Sheets?
No,
You have Sheets by you though, right?
I do. There's tons of
Okay.
Sheets around here.
Is Sheets Montez? I got bad news for you. I think there's Five Guys in every state.
Ah, damn.
Yeah.
There are 72 in Virginia though. There are 49 in New Jersey, and there are 23 in Connecticut.
So there's
there's
there's this pizza place here. I don't know if it's regional or not. It's called Benny Scarpetta's.
I don't know that.
That sounds
Maybe.
like a fake Italian name. That's hilarious. I
Yeah.
love it. That's
Well,
incredible. It's like
each one of them
Chuck E.
has a
Cheese.
different last name, so it's like a Benny and then like a different last name. So like each, because I know they originated, I think, in Charlottesville,
okay, so it is imaginary Italian names. Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. Thank you.
and it's
I
just
was
like
on it.
massive slices of pizza. And in order to get a box of the pizza out of the door, they have to open both of the double doors of the building to get it out. I don't
What?
even know if it would fit in my car.
So you just get one piece of pizza? Is it very expensive?
No, it's like $6 for a slice, but the slice is like the size of my face.
Yeah, if it's not good, at least it's big, right? At least you get a lot for
Oh,
the
here
money.
you go. You got Benny macaronis. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, this is. I can't believe I nailed it on like just you saying one of them.
Yeah.
I will say that I know that I lost my sister to Texas because when I was down there, she had pizza at 2 different places. I'm like, you can't stop ordering pizza. We're in Texas. Just get anything else. But, she's a vegetarian and, between barbecue and stuff, maybe eating, food in certain places is more difficult. So I get it. But also, like, stop ordering pizza. Come on. You know where good pizza is. So.
I'm sure there's good pizza everywhere. It's just like it's not as ubiquitous as it is.
Well, there's no Abits in
There's
Austin.
definitely not. There's definitely not.
So Montez, Too Fast, Too Furious. Let's kick things off.
What do you hate about it? Tell me what you hate.
No,
What's
before
the-
we get there,
Okay.
we need to do the most Dom moment. We can't forget this.
Okay, I got it. I have two, by the way. So.
Ideally, something in the movie.
I have something specifically in the movie this time, not something that I contrived from context clues that happened not on film.
Montez, I will say that Joe's defense, and we caught this on air. This is in the episode that we talked about, a couple weeks ago or whatever, maybe last week. I don't remember what it is because it's literally in one ear and out the other in my mouth and whatever. He said it was in defense of you. He's like, when we have the guest, I want to make sure I don't take theirs. I'm like, well, that's why we let the guest go first. He's like, all right, that's fair. So he had it like in his heart, he was doing something under the radar because he
Yes.
wanted to make sure he didn't steal your thunder. But he went so far under the radar
That I made it up.
It was no longer on the radar.
You know what? But I appreciate that. That was a deep cut, and I really appreciate that. You really used some analytical skills there.
Thank you.
Really dove in. Use your imagination. Loved it.
Thank you.
So now this is, as you know, Montez, the only movie that really, well, until we get to Hobbs and Shaw, that has no Dominic Toretto, has no Vin Diesel at all. He's in one scene, one moment of Tokyo Drift at the very end. That's not a spoiler. You've seen that movie. But this is the first one and one of only two, aside from the spin-off, Hobbs and Shaw, where there is no Dom. So the most Dom moment is something else another character does. So in your mind, while watching Too Fast, Too Furious with your cousin, making fun of it, hate watching it, all the terrible emotions, what were you like, this is the most Dom moment. This is the thing that most represents Dominic Toretto in this movie.
Brian playing chicken.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And then
Just aggro is what you're seeing as Dom right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wrote down a second one too.
Send
When
it.
he-
If you're on this wavelength, I don't think you're going to get to mine, so go for it.
When he rams the boat.
When he jumps onto the boat,
Yeah.
the action of doing that is like
Yep.
very Dom. So you just like imagine Dom as like just car stunt driver right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I haven't gotten into the family yet, right?
I get it. That's what I'm trying to decipher here. It's
come
like
come
an
along on
interesting
this journey
perspective.
with me.
It's okay. It's just like all of my like most Dom moments when I was thinking about this have nothing to do with cars, which is really weird.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like it's like I have a completely different perception of Dom, but I mean like the movies go along. You haven't seen the rest of them, and
Right.
it's just a little different.
So I have a pretty hot take about this movie and the most Dom moment that I'm going to save for after you went. So I like Montez. I like your two picks. I think they're both interesting. I think they're both kind of alpha moves in a sense, right? Like they're, Joe was saying that they're car moves, but they're kind of like alpha, like look how machismo I am.
Yes.
But Joe, what's your pick? You said you have one, or what was you had one how'd you describe it when you were teasing it?
I know. I just said that like I just have a completely different perspective, so
Oh,
mine are
yes,
a
yes,
little bit
yes, okay.
different.
Please.
I was thinking my most Dom moment in this movie.
I also before you, I want to preface this that I think we might completely agree on a thing that I'm about to say. I don't know. I'm curious to see if it's the same.
Okay.
If we have the same perspective, the same take. But yes, please go ahead.
Mine was after the jet ski race when Brian says, "Tej, can Roman stay with you?" And he's like, "Well, what's wrong with staying with you? Like, can he have the cot?" And he's like, "Well, what's wrong with staying with you?" And he's like, "You got bad habits." But Tej letting a bro of a bro stay inside his garage seemed like the most Dom moment to me. Like, I trust you by association. If you're family, he's family. And also opening your house to him, well, like garage, to stay there, I think is like the most Dom moment in my eyes.
That's powerful.
Yeah, that's what I was sensing. What were you thinking?
No, I think it's totally. So here, as I was watching this, I
Okay.
was specifically watching this movie this time for this thing because we have spent the last year and a half or so on a weekly basis. Now we're less often than that on this, but like on a weekly basis, thinking about this movie in too much detail. And I've never really thought about it from the perspective of this particular app of the most Dom moment. And I'm watching this movie, and I'm watching this movie, and I'm watching this movie. And I'm like, I don't think there's a Dom moment. I don't think there's a Dom character. I don't think any. I think by design or by accident or just by lack of Vin Diesel, so much of this movie is so in your face and so like I'm going to get by on like excitement and whatever that it's the cool, like we talk about Dom's cool secret, which is a different thing altogether, but like Dom is like cool under pressure and all these people are just like, I'm neon, look at my house, look at my car, look at my this, like I'm all just like flashing. I'm just like, I don't think any of these people are Dom, and I'm struggling and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then we get to the police warehouse and Monica comes out of the truck and she's all business. I'm like, Monica's our Dom. The only character in the entire movie that I think is Dom is Monica Fuentes.
But she's a cop. She moans like a cop.
I don't think it matters. I think it's her. We have a job to do. We're gonna get the job done. I'm gonna ride or die for the people I'm close to. I'm gonna get by however it happens. Her jumping out of the truck, all business, and then both of you girlies shut up, which is a kind of a dumb line. I can kind of hear Dom saying that too. I think there's no one in this movie close to Dom other than Monica. I do like your Tej moment. I do like the Montez, aggro, manly car moments. To me, it's Monica or bust. I think she's the most Dom moment. I think there's a quiet confidence to Monica Fuentes.
I get it. I can see it. I understand it. It's not a bad pick.
Ryan is definitely not Dom.
No. None of the. I think that you're lost in the sauce a little bit here.
No, I don't think I am though.
I know you don't. That's why I said it. But I think you're lost in the sauce in the sense that like you know so much about the characters that exist. There's not too many other characters in this movie that you can't see Dom in the other characters. Like, you know what I mean? Like trees for the forest type thing.
I was specifically trying to compare this to Dom from the first movie. Of Dom, like, I don't want to deal with this. Of Dom in the office doing tax returns or whatever.
Okay.
And Mia's like, take care of this shit, Dom. And he's like, I have to go do something. Like,
Okay.
Monica's like, we have a job to do. I'm not thinking about Dom jumping across bridges, jumping from building to building, picking up a car. I'm not thinking about that Dom. I'm thinking about specifically Dom from the first movie, trying to keep everybody even-keeled.
Fair. I get that. Yeah. Again, my perspective is much different. I have like a very global overview.
You're thinking global and I'm acting local.
Exactly.
Okay. Fair enough.
And that's fine. And no, but I do see some. I see some of it. Mostly like for me, it's a lot of Monica kind of being in a position of power and being the flirty one with Brian is kind of the Dom qualities that I see in it. Because she's like close to Brian and flirty with him and like also the main love interest, and Dom kind of feels like all of those things all at once too.
So the most Dom moment is that a character in this movie falls in love with Brian.
Tell me I'm wrong. Are you going to tell me I'm wrong?
No. I do think that the only other moment that I wrote down Well, I wrote down 2.
Okay.
1 I wasn't sure about, but 1 was the stare and drive. I think Brian doing stare and drive feels like a Dom, a quiet confidence kind of thing.
Yes, fair.
And I also think at the end, maybe Roman turning over bags 4, 5, and 6 of the money. Because I think that's sort of like the keep your car, the respect is enough for me. Just like, hey, you held up your end of the bargain, here's the money.
But they still steal some of the money. So.
Oh yeah, that's also maybe a little. He's also a criminal. Like we know he's a criminal, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I wasn't as sure about that, but I do think that the most Dom character, compared to the first Dom, the only one that we've seen, I think is Monica.
You make a decent case.
Final answer, sticking by it. But Montez.
That's not a moment either. Can I just like give you bullshit about like I made up a moment that wasn't in the movie, and you're like the most moment is just Monica existing. And, like,
No, I said her jumping out of the truck, all business, and both you girlies shut up. I said 2 specific, hyper-specific examples.
Yeah, but overall, your answer is Monica exists as Dom.
My overall answer is her jumping out of the box truck in the warehouse when they give the cars. When they deliver the cars, that's the most Dom moment.
Okay.
The most Dom character is Monica. That's not the question.
Fair. Okay.
Joe, you're not going to win this argument.
I just wanted to give you shit just for no reason because I found it funny to me, but that's what I was doing.
Montez, hate watching this movie. Hit us with it. Before we get into what you hate about it, are there things about this movie that you like?
The only thing I wrote down underneath love was Oasis.
Wait, you separate your notes from love and hate?
So I have 4 sections: love, hate,
What?
most Dom moment, and my other thoughts.
I love that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Is it? Did you draw a line between? Did you segregate them?
I sure did. I'll send you guys a picture later.
Oh,
Please.
Thank you. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I put Oasis.
The word or the idea
word?
or which?
The word.
Okay. That's
Oasis
fair.
is pretty good.
I was several glasses of wine deep at this point when
But-
I started to watch this movie, and that's literally all I wrote down.
So when I was watching the movie this time, I also gave a slight giggle at Oasis again. Like it got me this time as well. So I agree.
Yeah.
How big is your hate list? No.
How long? How many things are in your hate list?
2.
Okay.
Oh,
Cool.
hit us with it. Number 1, what's the thing you hate? What's the first thing you wrote down? You're like, I literally can't even.
In all capital letters with
Yeah.
a bullet, Roman Pierce.
Just
Wow.
Roman in general.
Just Roman in general. I cannot stand his character.
Now, knowing you've seen other movies, is he a character that at all grows on you, or
No.
is he one that you always hate?
I always hate him.
Why do you find him so grating? What is
I
it
don't know,
specifically?
man.
Can you narrow it down for us, or is
He's
it just
always
like general?
eating.
That
Yeah.
freaks you out?
Yeah,
The eating?
I don't like. I have this thing. I can't stand hearing people chew.
Okay, that I get.
Watching people eat, like I just don't like it. So he's constantly eating, so I don't like him.
Mukbangs, not Montez. We're never gonna get a Montez mukbang unicorn dreamings.
Nope.
Okay.
Now I say that I don't like him in other movies, but I don't remember the other ones as much, so I'm just gonna go into these as like, yeah, I've seen them before, but I don't remember much about them.
Okay.
I'd say maybe I don't dislike him as much moving forward, but in this movie, and I can remember when I first saw this movie as well, I really did not like his character. It really irked me that his whole persona was around the fact that he was hungry, which also I understand is his persona because he was in
they do
prison.
explain it. To the movie's
Yeah.
credit, they explain why that's the case.
Yes. And, obviously the first time I watched this, I didn't pick up on that, but I did pick up on that this time, and I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. But they didn't need to keep doing it for the whole movie. Like, I think if we could have done it for a little bit and then, like, moved on.
Okay. Do you like Ocean's 11?
Wait, which one's the good one?
The first one.
Well,
Ocean's 11.
okay. Well, 11
11's
is
the
great.
original.
12 is great. 13 is okay.
Okay.
I think widely people do not like 12, but I think 12 deserves a reevaluation.
Either way, in the first one, Brad Pitt's character is essentially doing Roman the whole time.
Yeah, Roman is doing Rusty from
Yes.
Ocean's 11, always eating things.
Do you hate Brad Pitt too, is what I'm trying to ask here?
Now I'm going to have to go back and watch that movie and see.
Do you know that Brad Pitt is now dating Emily Ratajkowski?
That feels wildly different in age, and I don't like it.
They're both parents, man. It's also not confirmed, but the rumor has it that they are dating.
I did see
Okay.
that.
Montez, is there anything about Roman that you do like?
Uh,
In this movie in particular, let's put out of our minds any memories you have of future movies. Anything in this movie in particular that you like? Because there's a lot of Roman in this movie.
there's a lot of Roman in this movie. Now I'm gonna say this, and again,
Okay.
I don't really remember because I was a few glasses deep at this point.
That's
But
fair.
I feel like what. Oh well, let me get to my other hate thing first, and then I'll go
Okay.
back to this.
Okay.
They said "bruh" and "bro" way too many times in this movie. Like I also want to go back and count how many times they say it.
Well, what about "cuh"? You were with your "cuh."
Bruh.
Forget about a "cuh."
Yeah. Well, okay. So there's also that, but they say they say "bro" and "bro" way too much. I say "bro." I don't say "bro" that much.
Bro. Have you
Bruh.
ever seen Boiler Room?
Uh,
That was a joke for Brian, Late Night Slumber Party Rodriguez.
He doesn't listen to this.
No, he doesn't. But it was a joke for him. We
I
just
know.
did an episode on Boiler Room, and it feels like a very bro-y movie, so you saying that just made me think of that.
Yeah, they say the word "bro" a lot. But yeah, I mean, our most recent episode, our first Life in the Fast Lane, was titled a quote. I was made for this, bruh.
Bruh.
So it's there. We know it's there. It's all over the place. It's bro all over the place.
we're all over the place.
But I think it also feels of the time, like, that's just like,
Yes, it was very early thousands.
yes, exactly. Like, I'm sure if we watched any MTV Spring Break clips from the thing with, like, VJs and shit, it would sound the exact same, so.
Yes, absolutely.
So you don't like Roman, you don't like bruh.
Yeah. And maybe it's because I was just like hyper focused on those things. I think one of the things I do enjoy about Roman, like as the movie continues, is that he does have the ability to like forgive Brian for what happened.
He doesn't need to forgive Brian, though, because it's
But
his
in
own
his
fault.
mind, it's his own personal perception, and perception is reality. So I feel like he, gets over himself. Maybe that's more of it. He gets over
Montez-
himself on it.
I think you just nailed the most Roman moment of this movie, which is Roman forgiving Brian for something that Brian didn't do that Roman did to himself.
Perfect.
I think
Well, I
that's
think like this movie is therapy for Roman. I think that
It is.
by he's being forced to confront his past by having this. He's using Brian as a scapegoat for his own actions, as you're saying, and Brian shows back up and just like, hey man, I'm sorry, and just like, no man, I'm sorry. Like it's deep.
he's like, you should be sorry because you wronged me that I did this.
Yeah.
Which I really love. Now that I think about the twist of that, that makes me really, really happy and enjoy it much, much more. Thank you, Montez.
What about your fourth column? Your other thoughts before Joe and I go into things or whatever. I want to hear what's your top other thought.
Okay, my top other thought. Obviously, I watch a lot of animated movies.
Yes, makes sense.
So my top other thought, and I only have 3, was the movie Turbo.
Which we've covered.
Yes, we covered. And everybody's in it too, right? Like Michelle Rodriguez is a voice. Like,
Yeah. So the beginning of this movie reminds me of the beginning of Turbo,
Yeah, like the neon drenched, neon soaked aesthetic, just
Yeah.
like the car thing. Yep. Mm-hmm.
especially the title. And then in the beginning, everyone's outfits, including their crew, all match the color of the car.
Yeah. What do you think of Suki and her crew?
I mean, she's fine. Does she come? She comes back, right?
No.
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 never.
Well, then that makes me sad. I actually
she's
kinda
great.
liked her. Yeah, she was cool.
But yeah, like Slapjack, Orange Julius,
Yeah.
Suki, they all match their cars. They all have like
Everybody
a governing design aesthetic.
It felt very Gran Turismo-ish.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then the other thing I wrote down was about Cars 3
Okay.
and the Crazy Eights. So like when they're doing that's Roman. So Roman, when he is doing his when we first see Roman and he's racing or whatever the hell you want to call it, isn't he like on dirt track?
Oh, the Demolition Derby. Yeah.
So that's what they do in Cars 3.
They do a Demolition Derby. I've only seen Cars 3 once.
Yeah, I
in
don't remember
theaters.
it. That's why I needed help. That's why I'm like trying to piece together like
Yes.
But
what's
they
going
do a
on.
Demolition Derby in Cars 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That makes sense.
So this movie is Turbo plus Cars 3,
Yeah.
but annoying in your mind.
Yeah. So it's
With
got
too
the,
much food.
the Cars 2 vibe.
Okay.
I don't know what animated movie I'm going to equate the next one to, but I'm going to try and keep this theme going.
It works
actually,
for us.
speaking on this topic, you said, did you watch this? Oh, no, you watched this with your cousins. So your little guys didn't get to see any of this movie.
No, but I'm gonna make sure that I watch Tokyo Drift with him.
Now, we're not doing Tokyo Drift next, remember. We're doing...
Oh yeah, that's right. No, but I
4
will make sure
next.
that I watch that with him because
Cool.
he's very into drifting cars. He actually was playing
yes.
cars earlier on the counter and had another car chasing a car, and he was just going serpentine, serpentine.
Why does
and
he use that word?
Cars? He was quoting
Cars
cars.
uses that word. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's weird.
Sorry, I'm just trying to keep on track here.
Keep on
Now,
these
Montez,
cars deep cuts.
when you watched this with Mike, did Mike also hate this movie?
Yeah, he also doesn't really particularly like this one. I think this
Okay.
is low on the list.
But he likes the franchise overall.
Oh, he loves the franchise.
Now, when you guys watch movies together, I think you generally watch trash, like
yeah.
Velocipaster and stuff like that.
Yes.
Are there movies that you two watch that one of you is like, no, I think this is great, and the other one's like, what are you insane? Are there ones that you are like wildly divergent on your takes, or are you both always on the same page, like this sucks, but we're enjoying it?
We're both usually pretty much on the same page, unlike me and you, Joey.
Well, that's what's weird. Like Joe is just like, Joe's opinion on a lot of movies is like, I want to tiptoe because I don't want to offend Joey, and I don't want to say that this movie was boring, but I feel like that's sometimes what he gets, which
What?
is, No.
No. Like, I there's a lot of mediocrity in my life. Like, something needs to stand out.
Sure.
To have like a strong opinion one way or another. So like, if there's a movie that you like that I hate, come on, La La Land. Like, I will shit
for
all
sure.
over this movie. It sucks. But
It
at
does
the same,
not, but yeah, I get it.
a lot of times, like when we're watching something together, I respect your opinion. I respect our guest's opinion. And if you guys are like, this movie was great, and I'm feeling the other way, I'm like, what did I miss, right? So it's
I
not so
get you.
much
I get you.
like I don't want to like offend you guys or anything. I'm just like, I'm now curious, like what am I not grasping here that you guys found so awesome, and maybe I'll change my mind. Sometimes
Sure.
you do, a lot of times you guys do, but a lot of times I'm like, I still don't know how I feel about that. Maybe I'll watch it again sometime and figure
That
it
is
out.
literally the whole explanation of why I'm on this podcast.
What?
The fact that I listened to you guys talk about these movies so much and I didn't like them, and I'm willing to watch them again.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, and that's all we want, and I think that's what the franchise wants too, man. Like, it's just like there is something for everyone. Like, you can hate Roman eating, you can hate his character, you can not like this movie, but there's gonna be something in here that you're like, okay, you laughed at Oasis, right? So we got you there. And
Yeah.
like, if we'll keep doing that, and you'll keep digging, and then you'll like watch some of the other ones, and you'll be like, oh, okay, I really like that, and then you'll go back and you'll be like, okay, Roman's maybe not that bad or something, like that's how it works, man. It's like George Costanza, like it just grates on you, even if you don't like it, and you'll just eventually get to a point where you're like, okay, there's some stuff I like.
Now, I will say about this movie, I felt as though they were trying to cram way too much into this movie.
You think there's too much in this movie?
I think they were trying to get way too deep with like the plot. And
Counterpoint, I think nothing happens in this movie.
I agree.
nothing
Where you
does.
go with this.
Nothing.
I think there's a
nothing
lot of
does-
fluff.
Yeah, nothing
there's
does
like 30
happen.
minutes of fluff in this movie.
Yeah, there's I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of time when you could take a bathroom break and you wouldn't miss anything.
No.
Mm-hmm. I will say, and I think I might have said this before, like a while ago, but like if I'm watching this and I leave the room to like bring dishes into the kitchen or go to the bathroom, I will pause the movie. I don't need to. I've seen all of these movies at least 12 times now, but for some reason I still like, no, I need to know what happens next.
Specifically this one or all of them?
All the Fast and Furious. I mean, like
Okay.
a pit stop movie, I will always just like, I will treat like a normal movie because like
Same.
we're not watching like 12 times or whatever. But these, I'm just like, no, I need to watch them all. I don't know why.
For me, these early ones, like, I can put them on and just like totally walk into. I mean, my kitchen's not far, and I can obviously still hear everything. But like, I can walk into and out of the kitchen because like I pretty much have the script tattooed in my brain, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah, mhm.
for me, I just like
No, like I do too, and I don't know why. I don't know why I do this, but I do this.
I respect it, man. It's dedication. I love it.
The reason I was saying before about you and Mike watching things is because when Joe and I have done a lot of podcasts together, but me and Mike Manzi done even more, and it
Yeah.
surprises me how few movies we are different on. Like, there's movies that like we're like, oh, I don't know, and like we almost wind up in exactly the same place. Just it's crazy. So I was
Me and
wondering.
You and I, like
No.
us.
You and I have wildly different tastes on many movies. I'm
Yes,
saying
that's
me
what I
and Mike
thought.
are just like there are maybe 5 movies that we've ever done like across like 10 shows where we're like wildly different in like he hated the thing that I loved or I loved the thing that he hated or whatever, like one of those kind of. You and I are just like, no, you're gonna watch a Hallmark movie, you're gonna make me suffer through a Hallmark movie, and you're gonna love every minute of like. There's things that we've
And not
done.
not because I love making you suffer through it, because
No,
like
you just genuinely love it, yeah.
I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
So like yeah, there's things that we are definitely. I think that's why this work, like why people enjoy it, because just like I don't understand how one of their like I don't agree with them at all. I don't think any of their points are valid, either one of us, right? And I think
Yes.
that's why that's good. Like and I'm not saying that me and Mike don't. It's bad because of that, but it's just like we're so similar. So I was wondering when you're watching these movies, whether it's a trashy horror movie or one of these Fast and Furious movies or whatever, if you are largely in agreement or like if you are biasing one another in a way that like you're like, oh, I kind of like this, and he's like ragging it. You're like, oh no, actually kind of sucks or whatever. Like I'm wondering what the dynamic is.
Influence. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I mean we generally like the same thing. I'm trying to think of if there's ever been an instance where we don't necessarily like the same movie. Can't necessarily think of one. I mean, granted, if I think a movie's terrible, I'll just laugh the whole time.
Sure.
Okay.
Which, I mean, that might influence him to laugh, and then, maybe he wasn't having a good time and we're watching it and I'm laughing, and then he's like, oh, okay, well, now I can see where this is kind of funny, but
Yeah, I feel like that's the risk reward of watching anything with people, either people or in public, where it's like I watch most things by myself and I'm just like, okay, like I have a pretty good sense of how I feel about
Okay.
this.
That's true.
But then
Yeah.
if I'm in a theater, like I saw Knives Out in a theater where everyone in my crowd is laughing at everything Chris Evans says, and I'm like, they're not jokes. They're not even meant to be jokes. Why are you laughing? Like, so he's, some of them are jokes, whatever, some of it's funny, but like they're laughing at everything, and I'm like, what? And so like it made me angrier. What? Like I didn't hate that movie, but I didn't like that movie. But then you watch a thing, you're like, I don't know, and then like people are having a good time. You're like, oh, maybe I actually am. Maybe I could be having a good time. I don't know. So
This
it's
reminds me.
I'm curious about the dynamic. Yeah.
This reminds me of the time that I took my mom and sister to go see Snakes on a Plane, and neither was very excited that I picked Snakes on a Plane for the movie to go see. And the theater was just so raucous, of just like a bunch of college students that were very excited to see the movie, and like they were like cheering and stuff like that, and they left and they were like, okay, that was a blast. Right? Like the influence of the outside,
Sure.
watching it in a community, they were like, okay, that was fun. Like the movie's stupid, sure. Like, but it's like not something that they would have enjoyed if I put it on TV at home, but like in a crowd that's having fun, they were like, okay.
I think it's all about like where you watch it. Like I think,
Yep.
like I'm wondering if you would have liked it more or less or about the same. I mean, you'd seen it before, so it's not like a brand new. Like it's hard to do an experiment like that or whatever. But
I liked
yeah.
this more being able to watch this with him, knowing
Good.
how
Okay, cool.
how
Good.
much he likes the franchise. I think that helped. Like I had more fun watching the movie this go around.
Cool.
So like I jokingly say I hate watched it. I didn't.
But you actually watched it.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, cool. Do you have other thoughts in your other thoughts column?
No, that was it.
So one thing you might already know, or you will discover as this goes on, is that one of the hallmarks of these movies is that they rewrite their own history to make a thing later in another movie make sense, right? Like they will time shift.
Few
They'll
things.
say that character is dead. That character's not dead. That character's never been dead. That character's always been dead. It's a very
Yes.
soap opera thing, and I feel like the first time we see in this movie, and it's not exactly that, but
What?
it's similar. And I think the first example of this in this franchise is that bridge scene that you were talking about before, Joe.
Okay.
Where they explain why Brian lets Dom go. Because in the first movie, it's just, oh, because they're in love. But now they're like, no. It's not because they're in love. It's because Brian felt guilt about this character who did not exist when the first movie came out.
Ah.
And it's not as extreme as
No?
later movies will rewrite things, but I do think it's like hey, let us re-explain or change the explanation or elaborate or whatever on this action from the last movie to give this movie a little bit more context. And I think I'm just like, oh, Okay, I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's something the movies will
it's
do
good.
a lot. And this, I think, is the first example of it.
I think that you're right. I mean, obviously, it would have to be in this movie if there, like, and anything happens earlier or after this. I don't really think that it ever happens in Tokyo Drift. So yeah, I think that that's a really good example. We haven't we talked about that scene and the context and it providing context to the last movie, but you're right. In the rewriting history kind of expansion on something that happened that we didn't really need an expansion of. Yeah, I can see it. I agree with that.
Yeah, it almost can't happen in Tokyo Drift because they're all new characters. Like, there's no history to rewrite. I mean, it happens
Yeah, you're
most
right.
extremely to Tokyo Drift,
Yes.
but nothing actually in Tokyo Drift unless there's a line that we're forgetting about when Dom is at the end. But I don't even think that. Like, he's just talking about Han. Like, it's again a character.
That
It's
you
like
just
giving
learned about, yeah.
exactly. My other thing, and this is what I was Montez. I messaged Joe. We were talking about I think baseball, and I'm like, I just had a revelation. He's like, how are those two things together? I'm like, oh, they're not. They're just totally different thoughts.
Yes,
I'm watching the movie right now.
yeah, he sends 2 messages. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay.
It was the right response. I'm just like, no, you got to keep up. I didn't tell you I was changing subjects, but I'm changing subjects, and I
And
have
it was
a
like
great thing I want
it
to
was
share
like
tonight.
message, message, message. And there's 2 thoughts in 3 messages that came 1, 2, 3. I was
Yep.
like, okay, there we
Keep
go.
up, man. Keep
Here
up.
we go.
So, Montez, one thing you might remember from past episodes of the show, or you might just know about movies in general, is that PG-13 movies, which all of these are, get one use of the word fuck.
Yep.
And it can't be a sexual thing. It has to be, like
oh,
in anger
fuck.
or whatever. Yes.
Yeah.
So we always like to talk about who gets the fuck, characters who get the fuck, whatever. In this movie, we have talked about, do either of you remember who gets it or who almost gets it? And there's a big hint, who almost gets the fuck in this movie.
I remember talking about it at one point, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Montez, you were wines deep weeks ago. Do you remember who says fuck in this movie?
No, and I'm pretty sure that I called it out when it happened, but I didn't write it down.
So in the rat bucket scene,
Yes.
In
I
the
remember
club?
now. Yes. Yes.
Carter Verone with the blowtorch says, I will burn your fucking eyes out. But in the movie, he actually says, I'll burn your eyes out. Like he
Yes.
censors himself.
Yes.
But
Yes. I remember now.
this time I was watching with subtitles, as I do sometimes, just to mix it up, keep things fresh.
Okay.
And the subtitles have, quote, I'll burn your fucking eyes out. So he doesn't say it, but the subtitles do.
They give him credit for it.
They do.
If I could
subtitles-
read, I would be really mad right now.
It's also not verbatim. Like, we've talked a lot. Remember we were doing the
Yeah.
minute by minute, like, let's kick it a nickel, 35 large, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They say 35 large. These subtitles say $3,500. It's like, that's not what he said. He said 35 large.
Yes.
I know that he's implying $3,500 in a weird way.
Yeah.
But the subtitles are just like, they're loose cannons. They can be whatever they want.
Exactly.
But I thought it was funny that the movie actually doesn't have fuck, but the subtitles give it
You know
one,
what?
so.
You know what I really enjoy? There was somebody that was sitting at their desk, and they're like, "Okay, you know what? You're gonna be in charge of doing the subtitles," and they just totally mailed their fucking job in. Okay, thinking that like, who's gonna watch Too Fast with subtitles on and care that it doesn't match what the movie is? So they're just fucking typing, not paying attention. And I enjoy that. That makes me really happy. I want to high five that person that you did the bare minimum, and I respect it. I hope you got paid handsomely for doing that.
Because that's the whole, like, subs versus dubs thing where, like, one is maybe a better translation, one's not. One's a different feel, one's not. Even
Yes.
neither of those might be accurate. You might have to, like, listen to the original language or whatever. There's
Yes.
like, there's not actually translation. But here, they're speaking English, it's written in English, and it's just not even right. So,
Yeah, I love it.
wild.
It makes me really happy, actually. That's awesome. I want a job as somebody who writes subtitles. I'll put like little Easter egg jokes in there for myself all the time. People be watching this, they'd be like, "Wow, that's not what they said at all."
I've maybe mentioned this before, but Montez, one time when I was driving down to visit our friend in Virginia, I was listening to David Cross's I Drink for a Reason, the audiobook, which he narrates. And he would stop himself while narrating the audiobook. He's like, why are you listening to this? Are you really so lazy that you're not going to read a book? Like, I read a
Yes.
book. You can read a book. And so there's things like that. Like, it's not the
Yes.
subtitle thing, but it's the little in-jokes like, I'm doing more work. Get with it, right? So
Yeah, I would love that.
I have one more question
Please.
on my notes.
Okay.
At the end of this movie, they get the 6 bags of money. They turn those all in. Pockets ain't empty cuz we ain't hungry, right? That whole thing. They have money.
Yep.
Brian says to Roman, hey, we should open a garage. He's like, how? And Brian goes, pockets ain't empty, lifts it up, and, we ain't hungry, whatever. Do you think they either, did they ever open a garage and it failed? Did they just go out and spend it on the night on the town? What do they do with that money, do you think? Because there are years in between this and 4 when we see Brian again, and this and 5 when we see Roman again. What did they do with the money? Did they open a garage? What do you guys think?
I still want to know what the hell happened to the cafe.
Toretto's Market and Cafe?
We keep bringing in these franchises, these little one-off side hustles. Businesses.
Okay.
Everybody's trying to go straight, trying to open up a solid business.
Okay.
But they don't.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'm kind of following along the same wavelength with you, Montez, in the sense that, like, I definitely don't think Brian and Tej ever open a garage. At the bare minimum, because I don't think their personalities could handle running a business together.
No. Also, the Buster, I know the Buster becomes a gearhead. The Buster is not a gearhead at this point in time. And we have no indication that Roman knows anything about cars. He just, he has the Demolition Derby car.
Yeah, we can kind of assume maybe, but at the same time, it's really? I don't know. So
I think what that last line indicates is, you and me, Joe, we're both car guys. We go to the movies together. We're best friends. We love cars. We love car movies. And they pull off the heist. They get the money. They walk away, whatever. And they're basically saying to the crowd, wouldn't it be awesome to open a garage with your buddy? And it's well, yeah, but that's not these characters. These characters would be let's go out, that Ratchet Tanya or whatever, right?
Yeah, I think that in reality what happened was they said that's a cool little wholesome moment, and then they went straight to South Beach and Roman blew all of his money immediately.
Yeah, they found their own oasis.
Yeah, they went to some nightclub, he bought bottles, they had a great night, and that was they were oh cool, we have $200 the next day. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like to me.
Because in Fast 5, they're what do you do with the money? I'm going to open a garage. You want a day job? Roman's giving Tej shit for having a quote unquote day job, right? He's at $11 million. Here, he seems amped to open a garage with Brian. He's just yeah, man, that's great. We both have money now. It's oh, okay.
Yeah.
So.
Back when he was young and naive.
I guess so.
And wanted to have a day job.
Joe, do you have any other thoughts? Any other notes about Too Fast, Too Furious?
No, I mixed all of mine in throughout. I definitely did, so I'm good.
Well, then let us play this Ain't No 10-second race, a.k.a. Boy Do We Have a Podcast for You. This is where we go on Twitter.com, a.k.a. the Bird app. Find tweets from anybody we don't know, tweeting about these movies, these actors, whatever, and we respond to them from the Too Fast account with a customized message and saying, boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Come and check out our show. Yeah.
Can I tell you the most Joe thing ever?
You forgot to do it?
No, not that I forgot to do it. I forgot this game existed.
Oh.
Until right now.
Sure, okay.
Because we've been doing some Zephs in between. We're on our new timeline. I got to hear we're 5 episodes deep of not doing
this. Yeah, we've only done this game 150
I know.
times.
I said it's the most Joe thing ever. It has no explanation why I didn't remember it, but you just said, I was what the fuck is he talking about? I was oh, okay.
Well, that's why people listen.
Yeah.
So last time, I found Rudy at Covey's burner. It's funny to think how much Snaffle paid for Brian to go get Mia a drink and come back with an iced tea in the Fast and the Furious. Then they responded, I have so many questions. What happened to Leon? Why did you just call Vince Coyotes RS? What does that even mean? And we said, we missed Leon too. Another question. Why does he call Vince Pumpkin? Boy, do we have a podcast for you. And Rudy, Kobe's burner, liked the tweet. So 1 point for me. Thank you for all your silent congratulations on considering that a win.
Hey, man, I ain't cheering you on. It doesn't help me at all.
Monica, you found Monica fitting at Pink Jackets. I'm a big enthusiast of the Fast and Furious franchise, but I was today years old when I watched the original Fast and Furious movie. We said we have a lot of questions. We'll start with, what movie did you start with? Boy, do we have a podcast for you. We got a like. But from Michelle Farley, past guest of the show, Michelle Farley, so 0 points to you, sir.
Okay, that's fine. I'll take it.
Montez, you found Brendan McAleer at Brendan_McAleer, and it's a picture of a Hot Wheels, the 99 Ford F-150 SVT Lightning, and says, no one likes the tuna here. And then the Bob man says, hey man, he was in my face. And we said, boy, do we have a podcast for you, parentheses, no crust. No points. So sorry. So sorry.
That one
I
would have been
missed so
perfect.
bad last time.
I didn't miss. Man, I'm on like a 2-game win streak right now. I am crushing it. Never been better. Never been more powerful.
Playoff baseball. You're locked in.
I found one. I did my homework. If neither of you have one, I can go.
Yeah, I was gonna do my homework, and then the tiny.
Oh
human
damn it! I
didn't
thought
go to
I was
sleep.
counting on you here, Montez. This is
I'm doing my homework right now.
okay.
All right.
Okay,
I
Joe, you
will
go
go
first.
because I'm apparently the only person who remembered that this game exists because I'm the only one who cares.
It's okay.
I found Jimmy Hayden at /JHD/JHP at #Hayden. Too Fast, Too Furious 2, Carter Verone gets out of jail. And I'm going to say Too Fast, Too Furious 2, Suki comes back with a vengeance.
Okay. I like
Boy,
that.
do we have a podcast for you.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Okay, I like this one. I really, really like this one. I got a tweet. Okay?
Hit us with it, please.
It's from at Star Wars polls _ replying to Star Wars only. They asked, would a pod racing series work in Star Wars? Would that interest you? And somebody goes, I'm not a big fan of Fast and Furious at all, but I'd pay a good lump sum to see Star Wars Tatooine drift. And I want to say,
I have a great one, but I want to hear what
go
you
ahead.
have to say.
Oh, I was going to say, well, Etion and the fucking, I don't know what the name of the building is called from the other thing, are the same place. So maybe you should give it a Jedi's try.
Here, I like the end there. I think the issue with that they're not going to know who the fuck or what the fuck Etion is.
They said they're not a big fan of them, not that they haven't seen them. That's the
I don't think. I think if you say you're not a big fan of Fast and Furious, you're not seeing Hobbs and Shaw.
Give me some help on the first part then.
I think you should say,
okay,
from episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which is what they're talking about.
Okay.
Now this is pod drifting.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And then in parentheses, be like, and you should give the Fast and the Furious franchise a Jedi's try.
Is a Jedi's try a real thing?
No, I just made that up. What are you talking about?
I feel like you're trying to pander to these people in languages they don't understand, but we'll go with it.
It works for the show. I'm just trying to keep pushing my motives out there. Hopefully something sticks.
We got a notification. Hold on. Is this somebody? Is this my person? No, T'Challa Stan liked the retweet. Okay. I also think it's funny, and we talk about this a lot, that like we'll find a tweet that has like 2 likes or 1 like, and we'll like it and retweet it, and then like our listeners, our followers, give it like 6 or 7 more likes. Like it basically goes from like a nothing tweet to like not a viral tweet, but like people care about this, and still people are like, nope, not gonna acknowledge that anything happened. It's like what?
Yeah, they get like a reply to an old tweet and then like a bunch of different likes, and then all of a sudden they're just like, yeah, fuck that person.
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
Make NASCAR great again. Somebody else who follows us also liked the retweet. So this person better respond to my thing, acknowledge it, because we're making them go viral. Sort of, not really. Montez.
I sent you one on Twitter, and I did this because I completely disagree with this person, but it's just me.
Okay.
This person is replying to another tweet.
Uberfax at Uberfax, who says, name a sequel better than the original.
Too Fast, Too Furious, Home Alone 2, American Pie 2. All of these are the superior films in their franchises. I will not be taking questions at this time. I have so many questions.
Okay.
Is that what you want us to say?
That's perfect. I kind of like that. I have so many questions.
Do you think this guy loves Trump, and because Trump is in Home Alone 2, he's like, that's the better one? That's
his
not
views
out of
are
the
his
possibility.
Own. Oh, and he does say he tweets about politics. Yes,
it's
it's a weird time.
So no, I don't think he's a. He also responds to that his own tweet, Montez. I want your take on this because you are a video game #nerd alert. While not a film, Need for Speed Underground 2 is the best game in the entire franchise. Don't at me.
Did you play Need for Speeds?
Yeah.
Is 2 the best one?
I feel like this guy needs to get out of his mom's basement.
Oh.
Well, we can't say that. I mean, we could say that, but we shouldn't say that.
I'm saying that.
What should we say to this person? Because I feel like we would not say we have so many questions, but we could say something along those lines.
Yeah. The second one out of all of them? Like, that's a lot of movies.
Well, he's not saying it's the best. Oh, he does say superior films in there. And he's just saying it's better than the first one. He's not saying it's the best one.
Yeah. He's saying better than the first.
Yeah, but he's
Montez,
saying...
Montez, I'm gonna throw you a little bit of a bone here.
All right,
I gave
do
Joe a slam dunk here. I'm gonna say, we also love Too Fast. What's your favorite in the franchise? Because if he responds, it's 5 points.
That's fair.
And then in parentheses, what you said, also we have so many questions.
Yes.
I like that. I think that's good.
I've not only not seen American Pie 2, I don't know if I've ever heard anybody talk about American Pie 2. And I was on an episode about American Pie where John probably explicitly... I just feel like it's not in my brain. Or like I know that there's like an American Wedding and like Girls Rule, the new one that Brian covered.
What was American Wedding was 3 though, right?
I think it was 4. It was either 3 or 4.
I think 3 was American Wedding. I remember watching the first one like on loop. I'm sure that I've seen the second, but I also feel... Yeah, I don't remember it at all. Like, anything about it. So, that tells you what I think about that movie.
I'll do my homework for next time.
Yeah, you got to remember. I mean, Joe's also got to remember. I think if Joe doesn't remember, it's not your fault. Like, you know,
it wasn't.
You're
it wasn't.
par for the course with Joe.
Yeah, that's...
Listen,
I mean, hey, it
in
happens.
my defense, I didn't forget. I ran out of time.
Well,
Okay.
Montez, you have nothing but time.
That's true.
True.
So, well, Montez, what I can say is thank you for joining us once again. You 2
Thank
down.
you.
You have 8 to go, plus 10, which will come out at the end of this lap. So you really got 9 more to go.
Perfect.
But you are through, I would say, the worst of the 10 perfect movies.
Great.
And I don't even think it's bad. I think it's just like, it feels different from a lot of them. It's a different director. John Singleton's doing his own thing. Different experience all in all.
Yes, I get it. In Miami, which is its own thing, like Miami as a setting is its own thing. So, yeah.
So now don't give us specifics. We will talk about that in 3 weeks. But you have seen Fast and Furious number 4 from 2009, correct?
Yep.
Cool. So we're going to do that next. Hopefully you like that one more than this. I think you probably will. But that's another one that people are not crazy about. But the same thing sort of with Joe, where he's like, you know, he liked this one a lot. The more I watch 4, the more I like it. So hopefully you will like that one. Maybe not as much as the first, but, you know, hopefully you like 4 a lot. So we'll get to that in 3 weeks.
All right.
But do you have any other final thoughts? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to share this episode with our listeners?
No, I'm still really boring.
I do think they want to know what your kids think of this. So I think what you should do is you should put this on for your children and let them absorb the Roman Pierce of it all and see what they think. Maybe they'll come away saying, bruh. Would you love your son saying, bruh?
I mean, it'd probably it'd be funny for a while.
I think Roman has very similar qualities that kids would enjoy as, like, Tater from Cars. Like, I think that he's just very approachable. So I
Mater?
think
Mater.
Sorry, Mater. Yeah.
I do
Mater.
like Tater. Tater's a better name, but Mater he's Toe Mater. Get
Yeah,
it?
exactly. Yeah. So I think that I'm guessing that children would really enjoy Roman and his kind of like slapstick kind of vibe.
He is a cartoon character. He is more cartoony than anyone else in the franchise.
By the way, Jason Rainey's drawing.
Oh my god,
was fucking incredible.
Actually, that's a good question for you, Montez.
Oh my god.
What's up?
So there was a thing that went viral on Twitter a while ago. It might have gone viral on Reddit again recently or a while ago. I don't know. But Alex Ellen, one of our listeners, one of our patron supporters, sent in a thing that said, pick a movie, one actor remains in it, everyone else is a Muppet. And we were talking about, in this movie, before we get there, if you were recasting an entire movie with Muppets and keeping one actor as the actor, so, like, you know, for instance, like, it's Paul Walker, but, you know, Roman's a Muppet and Bilkins is a Muppet and whatever. Who in this movie would you keep in the movie and everybody else is a puppet? Like, who's your pick for this movie, keeping them as a human?
The bad guy. What's his name?
Carter
Carter
Verone?
Verone?
Yes.
Interesting. What do you think of him overall?
I thought he was really boring.
Okay. Do you watch Yellowstone?
Yeah.
Because he's on Yellowstone.
Yes.
So, do you like him on Yellowstone?
He's so much more of a badass in that show.
Okay.
Good to know.
Interesting.
I feel like this Carter could not murder anyone if he needed to. I feel like he would tell someone else to do it.
It does feel like he has a lot of hangers on.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
He doesn't feel like he has a lot of follow through.
He is the torch though. Like he's the torch wielder in this situation. So I think any man that can wield a torch at some other man is threatening.
You're talking blowtorch. You're not talking like a British flashlight.
No, yeah, I'm talking legitimate blowtorch. Yes.
Okay. Because we were talking about, I think it was either what Alex said or what we landed on. I think Alex said it, but we were saying Roman in this, and everybody else is a Muppet. And so Jason Rainey, who
I
did an
said
amazing
Roman
thing
in this,
for
but
you said Roman in this.
I said it, but I think you said that maybe you guys said it in an email too that I didn't know about. But yes.
Yeah, I think Alex said. I think he said Roman. I think he said always Roman. I think he said Vince in the first movie, then every other Roman, and then DK in 3.
Yeah.
But Roman, it seems like a great choice. I think also Carter Verone with Muppets is pretty good too. But then Jason, who drew us an amazing thing for episode 250, which he jokingly was like, it's actually for 253 because they didn't get it done in time, which is even funnier. But he drew a drawing, which we quote tweeted Montez, I don't know if you saw, of Roman wrestling with a Muppet saying, you fight like shit, you still fight like shit, which is very funny.
It was so amazing. I'm glad for yes, it was exactly what I was imagining. It made me laugh again, and I loved it and shared it and showed everyone I could that this thing was hilarious to me. So thank you, Jason.
Yeah. So if you have not seen that, Alex, go check out our Twitter, because I don't know that Alex is on Twitter. He's on Instagram. I feel like, we can't really post news to Instagram. Like, I also kind of don't want to. But, like, people like, like friend of the show, Melissa Lynham, or Alex will send me news. I'm like, yeah, we did it on Twitter. Like, I know it's like a different platform or whatever,
yes,
but I wish that there was like kind of like, we need like Signal or Telegram or something. We're just like, this is the Too Fast News. Subscribe to this channel. Here's what we're talking about. Here's a drawing of Roman wrestling a Muppet. But yeah, Alex, if you have not seen that yet, please go check out at Too Fast Too Forever on Twitter, because Jason's, God, it's so funny. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
So thank you to Jason. Thank you to Montez. And for all things Too Fast. Oh, wait, hold on. Next week, we are starting. There's two franchises.
I know what we're doing. Okay.
There's two franchises that sum up Vin Diesel. Well, I guess now Marvel. We're not doing Marvel. We're not doing any Marvel this lap. Okay. I feel pretty confident saying that. I don't think we're doing any Marvel. Okay. But there are two franchises other than Fast and Furious that sum up Mr. Vin Diesel. We're doing both of them, obviously, in their entirety this lap. But next week, we are starting with one of them. We are starting with a movie called Triple X. Montez, have you seen Triple X?
Sure have.
I never have.
You like Triple X? Because I never have either.
It's not bad.
Do you think we will like Triple X?
I mean, it's in the sense that...
Don't tell us about it, just...
It's enjoyable.
Okay.
If you're not watching it for like something really deep and meaningful.
Because I saw the third one in theaters and I loved it. But the third one I think is crazy. I think the first one might be taking itself seriously. I don't know.
Yeah, the first one's fine. It's fine.
But next week, we are going to do Triple X. We are going to do, this is, again, we'll talk about it then, a 3-episode, 3 sort of location crossover. The second one on our Patreon, because Vin Diesel, spoiler, not in the second one. And then the third one, there's only one place where third movies can live, and that's Third Time's Charm.
With resident historian Mike Manzi, that's absolutely true.
He's going to be on all 3 episodes with us, but next week we've got Triple X. So for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, and Triple X, go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or at TooFastTooForever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at TooFastTooForever.com and our store at TooFastTooForever.shop. Come back next week for Triple X, and again, go check out Jason Rainey's drawing of Roman wrestling Kermit on Twitter. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
And that was Ms. Gabriella Mon-TEZ of Unicorn Musings, and we'll tell you all about it
when we see you